Hello, welcome back to Entangled Observations. My name is Stephen, and these are my thoughts. I was watching some YouTube videos today, and it got me thinking that I see a lot of people really struggling with themselves inside, inner struggles, trying to change themselves, trying to morph themselves. And I'm not going to go into it here, but I've got quite a past, and I've had to deal with a lot of stuff like that. So I've had opportunities to really explore this sort of topic, and I just want to share some of the things that I've discovered. One of the things is that when you're struggling with things that you don't like about yourself, there's basically, a few ways that you can fight it. You can try and deny that you're like that, which I think is a very dangerous path to go down, because you are sort of ignoring a part of yourself that you don't like, or you're trying to bottle it up. And I think that it's going to fight to come out. This is a thing that Jung calls the shadow. And so I'm basically talking about ways that I've found to deal with the shadow. So that's one way, is just denial. And you see that all the time, people denying that they're not this way, they're not that way. When in truth, 90% of what they're trying to deny is stuff that is shared by almost everybody on the planet. So why deny it? I don't understand. If there are so many people that share whatever it is that you're struggling with, then denial to me doesn't make any sense. For me, it didn't make any sense. Let's put it that way. So then another way is to try and work on it and try and fix it so that you don't have that thing anymore that you don't like. Again, this seems to me like a confinement technology. It seems to me like, I'm going a little faux coup here, but it seems to me like it is designed, that's a whole industrial complex, if you like, of people trying to help other people get over things and work things out. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Of course, obviously, it's good to work things out. It's good to resolve issues and that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is that in my experience anyway, and of course, this is always, all my videos are always from a personal experience here. And so I'm just sharing with you. It's not advice. I'm just sharing with you that hopefully other people can learn from my experience one way or the other. They can say, well, that's not the way I want to do it. Or, hey, I like that. That's a good idea. Either way, I just want to share with people that they may learn one way or the other, and yeah. So that's it. So what I mean by that is that I don't think that anybody's going to work anything out to the extent that that quality in them that they don't like disappears or changes. I think that what they learn is how to manage it. And so I see a lot of people spending a lot of time and money and effort on trying to get rid of that aspect of themselves that they don't like. Even physically. Like, let's say you've got a weight problem. Obviously, I have a bit of one. So you're going to try and lose the weight. But the thing is you try and lose that weight, you still carry, even if you get all buffed and ripped and skinny and in good shape, you still carry those fat cells, and those fat cells still want to get fatter. That's never going away. And that is, in my opinion, the way that pretty much all characteristics of the human character work. So what I found, sort of in my own, and I'll get into this in other videos, sort of my own life experience and my history and stuff like that. But for now, what I found, the best course is to acknowledge the things that you don't like about yourself, acknowledge that they exist, and then figure out ways to manage it. ways to control it, ways to divert its attention. I'll give you an example of my own personal life. I am an absolute sugar addict. Sugar just explodes my brain with dopamine like nothing else can. It's insane what it does to me. And yeah, you can't eat sugar. You can't eat sugar in huge bucketfuls. I would like to. I wish I could. Maybe I have once or twice, but you can't, right? It's too unhealthful. So I have to acknowledge that I am addicted to sugar. Just like I smoked for years. I smoked for 20 years. I had to admit that I was addicted to smoking. And finally, I was able to kick the smoking habit I was sick of quitting. So when people say, well, how did you quit smoking? And I'll do a video on that, how to quit smoking. But when I finally did quit smoking, what I quit was quitting. Because I couldn't stand having to quit again. Now, in the case of sugar, I've had to watch really carefully what happens when I eat sugar. It causes inflammation and aching in the body. It causes all kinds of problems, including my brain gets cloudy and I can't think correctly, which I personally can't stand that. And so what I've done to try and address it is I've learned ways to maneuver around it, to sort of divert those things. Divert my attention away from sugar, to find sort of sugar substitutes that don't cause as much damage, perhaps, that I can get my mind off of it. And I've just got all these little tricks and stuff, but I've never changed the fact that I crave sugar so badly, because I don't believe I can. And I don't believe any little characteristics that I have like that I'll ever be able to change. And I honestly don't think that most people can change anything about themselves. I think you just need to admit it. Now, Jung calls this embracing the shadow, and you embrace your shadow self. Your shadow self is that part of you that you wish didn't exist, that you wish you could just hide away, that you wish you could just deny out of existence, right? And so what I'm suggesting and what I've learned, and I've since learned that this is actually Jung's prescription for it too, but I had no idea. I sort of came to this on my own, is to embrace that. You have to embrace it, you have to acknowledge it, and you have to deal with it. And I'm not saying you need to run around and tell everybody, oh, I'm a sugar addict or whatever, like I basically just did. But, I mean, you don't have to do that. I'm talking about acknowledging to yourself so that shadow self can come out into the light and it's no longer a shadow self. You can actually deal with it. But if you just deny it, or if you just try and squeeze it out of existence, it will only grow stronger and it will only create more chaos in your life. And so it's a good idea. I mean, it's a bad characteristic. It's something you don't like about yourself, but everybody on the planet, none of us is perfect. Everybody on the planet has things that they don't like about themselves. And so my prescription for that, if you like, or what has worked for me, is simply to list off the things, try and discover them. And I mean, I'm in my 50s. I'm still discovering things all the time. I just discovered something a week ago that I didn't like about myself. I had no idea it was there. So I had to acknowledge it. I had to bring it out, and now I have to deal with it. And I am dealing with it. And it's not something that's ever going to go away. I know that. But now I know how to deal with it. And, but it shows, like, I'm in my 50s. I've known to do this since I was in my 20s. I worked this out. And yet I still have things. And so I think that's how powerful the shadow self is even though you might feel like, oh, this and this and this I don't like about myself, be prepared. There are other things you're going to also not like about yourself. The mind is very clever, and I believe it hides things from itself all the time. It has to. It's part of the mechanism of existing in reality. We cannot comprehend everything around us, the entire of reality. Our brain has to hide things. And our brain loves to hide things about ourselves as well. And I can see that. I see people all the time, little micro expressions and little things that happen. And yeah, okay, I know what's going on there. You're in denial. And that's fine. I mean, it's not a judgment. Everybody's like, I'm like that. Everybody's like that. I want to know as much about the things I don't like about myself as possible, as quickly as possible, because I can find out. And that is part of that. When you hear people talking about living authentically, and I'm not making any claim that I live authentically, like, but when you hear people make that claim, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about being your authentic self. In my opinion, this is what they're talking about. I mean, everybody obviously has different definitions, but that's how it appears to me, that when people are talking about an authentic self, they're talking about people that shadow has really been brought into the light for themselves more than most people. And most people, it's not at all. Most people deny it or try and squash it out of existence. It's why it's so hard to quit smoking. It's why it's so hard to quit sugar. It's why, people have problems are so hard to get over and difficult to deal with. It's because I believe that we don't learn how to deal with it properly. Yeah. So that's it. That's my rant. That's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and leave a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Am I full of crap? Do you agree with me? What are your experiences? I would love to hear about it. All right. Thank you and take care. Until next time. Bye.